is brighter than yesterday.
Gather round, it's time for good cheer. TM Pick and Pay Supermarket wishes you a festive season filled with love and laughter. It's time for the news.
Good evening and welcome to the news at 8. I am Tariro Manamike with Noble Maungwa at the Sign Language Desk.
My name is Joyce Mabika. Later on, Arthur Evans will join us from our Montreux studios in Bulawayo. For now, let's take a look at our leading stories tonight.
Second Republic on a drive to invest in health infrastructure.
In other news, Zimbabwe's tourism sector records a massive surge in tourist arrivals.
And in sport, a former Dynamos team manager Richard Chihoro to be buried on Sunday.
We'll now give you the news in detail. Government has reiterated its commitment to capacitating Ingucheni Central Hospital to enhance provision of quality and accessible mental health care service to the citizenry.
Ingucheni Central Hospital has witnessed a surge in admissions in recent years due to drug and substance abuse, putting immense pressure on its existing resources. During a recent visit to the health institution, the Minister of Health and Childcare, Dr. Douglas Mombeshura, stressed the need for significant improvements to ensure optimal patient care.
There's a serious challenge here. You can see the infrastructure, which is not really able to contain those people with acute psychosis. You can see the water infrastructure. That is not appropriate. Quite a lot of work needs to be done because the patients who are here are not the same as patients we find in other central hospitals. They need special care. We are looking at issues of adequate staff, trained staff who need to be here. I know that they are at about 9% vacancy rate, which is better than the overall vacancy rate in the ministry, but we obviously have to prioritize this area because of the kind of patients that they have.
The minister also highlighted the importance of ensuring a consistent and adequate supply of essential medicines.
Some of these patients become acute psychotic, but we don't have the antipsychotics to calm them down. I think we have promised as the ministry to really put more effort in acquiring those drugs, and we think it's possible. We should be sure by end of January some of those drugs will have been procured and improve the stocks here.
The Second Republic is on a drive to invest in health infrastructure, human resources and equipment to achieve universal access to healthcare for all Zimbabweans. He learned more. ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Still on health issues, residents of Mahusekwa in Marondera Rural District are appreciative of the construction of the Mahusekwa Hospital, which they say has improved access to quality health care in the area. More details in the next report.
Built under the China-Zimbabwe Friendship Initiative, Mahusekwa Hospital is one of the flagship projects which has transformed lives in Mashonaland East Province, as villagers who used to travel long distances to Marondera, Chitungwiza and Harare for medical services can now access it on their doorsteps. The modern hospital, commissioned by President Emmerson Mnangagwa in 2019, is one of the projects visited during a provincial media tour of high-impact projects organized by the Ministry of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services this Friday.
zviri kutibatsira kana tikarwara tinongouya pano tinorapwa zvakanaka zviri kutibatsira zvakanaka hapana timbokadzi kana nyangwe varwere vedu kana vakazvitakura vana vedu vanosununguka zvakanaka vari kugona zvavo tiri kubatsirwa zvakanaka kunyangwe tikaenda varwere vedu vari kurapwa vachipora
pamahusekwa tikubatsirwa zvakanaka, vari kutibatsira kana kuvana vanovarapa zvakanaka zvirwere zvese kunyanya flu inowanzonetsa vana saiwa vanotibata zvakanaka. Pane isusu zvedu zvatinoda zvizhinji zvachinonotibatsira asi unyange katiwedzerero kana mamwe mapirizi zvinenge zviri right.
Administrators at the hospital say the facility is striving to ensure its staff and patients are well catered for.
At least 25 houses, some of them are around 50%, up to 90% completion, and some people are already staying in the houses. So this has reduced the need for staff to be traveling from here to Marondera on a daily basis because of the lack of accommodation. So now we have critical staff where we can conduct operations, and if we have emergencies during the night, we can quickly call staff to come and assist patients here.
Ask those that are at Marondera Provincial to come to start to do operations, specialist operations, and we are aiming to do that this year. And to complement that, it means we need a CT scan, an MRI scan, so that we support the work of specialist services. So I think that's the major drive that we are aiming in 2025, to expand the operation so that we optimize our bed occupants in these hospitals.
Although Mashonaland East has several high-impact projects, the provincial media tour descended on Chivu Dam in Chikomba, Mount Mary Cooking Oil Factory in Manyame, and Dombotombo Flats and Chikaranwa Dam in Marondera.
Ma provincial media tours takatarisana nekuti tichange tichitarisa ma high impact projects in terms of national development strategy 1, or even takatarisana nema 100-day cycle projects akaitika muno munyika neachiri kuitwa nehurumende inotungamirwa naPresident Idi Mnangagwa. Zuva ranhasi takatarisana nema projects akati wandei atinoti ma signature projects, asi tichatora mashomanene. Tinoziva pane mabhaibheri ema projects amakaita muno muMashonaland East Province akawanda zvikuru sana, asi zuva ranhasi tichatora mashomanene ende tichafamba nespeed. Tauya nema media house akasiyana siyana kuti ange achikwanisa kuzotora nhau odzipepeta odzishambadzira zvakare munyika ino yese nepasi rino rese. Takatarisana nekuti hakuna munhu kana nzvimbo anofanirwa kusara. So members of the fourth estate, this is an opportunity for you to be able to interact with the majority, with the public, and at the same time as you undertake part of your responsibility, which responsibility is very key in terms of the development of our country, which is Zimbabwe.
This is the first time that you have brought a contingent of journalists. They are going to tell people our story of what is happening in Mashonaland East. It is the vision of His Excellency, our President, that no one and no place will be left behind. And we are saying today is the beginning of your visit, and we are saying we welcome you. You can come every month to see the progress of what we will be doing.
The provincial media tours began in Harare Province, where the delegation visited some of the flagship projects in the capital city, including roads, Baremsika Market Project, and the Trabablas traffic interchange, among others. Gerald Sasa, BC News, Marondera.
And now taking a look at developments in the agriculture sector, farmers have so far planted 1.6 million hectares of maize out of the targeted 1.8 million hectares as government encourages farmers to continue planting early maturity crops.
Government is encouraging farmers to continue planting early maturity varieties, with the current rains being witnessed across the country expected to continue for the next 2 weeks. Giving an update on the 2024-2025 summer cropping season, Lands Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Professor Bedjiri revealed farmers have already planted 1.6 million hectares, of maize and 400,000 hectares of traditional grains.
We are targeting 1.8 million hectares of maize, and we are now hovering around 1.6 million hectares. This is why we are encouraging farmers to plant the ultra early varieties. For traditional grains, we are targeting around 500,000. We are now on around 400,000 thereabout, and so we are continuing to encourage those farmers who can plant traditional grains to keep on planting. For tobacco, for cotton, we are also on track. So at the moment, we are still on track. We will do our verification exercise, the usual CLAFA that we carry out in January, February.
Professor Jiri said crops planted early were in a good state, with farmers now concentrating on fertilizer application.
The forecast up to the 18th shows that we have very good rains in Zimbabwe in that period. We have seen farmers also responding very well. Those that planted in November, they have a very good crop now. The focus for those farmers is now on fertilizer application, on pest control, on weed management, and on agronomics for the crop. We should see some of these crops really maturing and being taken to maturity by these rains.
The country is expecting a good harvest this season after projections of normal to above normal rainfall. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The government is making progress on financial inclusion, which has provided opportunities for the marginalized, including youths, women and small to medium entrepreneurs, to be incorporated into the banking system.
A review of the Zimbabwe's Financial Inclusion Strategy 2022-26 shows that government during the just ended year capitalized banking institutions responsible for empowering various economic sectors. The banks that benefited include the Zimbabwe Women's Microfinance Bank, Empower Bank, and the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Corporation. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Monetary Policy Committee member Professor Albert Makochekaro says more still needs to be done to increase the uptake of bank products and services by marginalized communities.
As we move on that strategy, we see that we are now going into the rural areas, so that at the end of the day we put all the citizens on net in terms of financial inclusion, and that has a positive impact in terms of economic activities. We know that for all economic activities we want money, we want access to finance. So at the end of the day, that will push our country towards Vision 2030 of becoming an upper middle income society.
Development economist Dr. Prosper Tambara described the financial inclusion strategy as an important element for the growth of Zimbabwe's banking sector.
The issue of financial inclusion is always very important in terms of driving entrepreneurship and ultimately sustainable development in Zimbabwe. It's critical that we sustain the stability in the macroeconomy, because that has a critical bearing in terms of interest rates. And once interest rates are stabilized in the long term, that helps in terms of even increasing the uptake of financial products by different groups, including the women but also the youth.
The Bankers Association of Zimbabwe noted in a report that financial institutions will be rolling out new products and services to cater for the needs of the marginalized communities. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
The Judicial Service Commission is set to introduce fast-track courts this year in a move expected to reduce cases backlog and provide faster access to justice for victims. Fungai Jachi with that report.
In a bid to ensure justice is not delayed and that the rights of accused persons are not infringed upon by delaying to put them on trial and finalizing their matters, the Judicial Service Commission, JSC, is set to introduce fast-track courts, a move expected to improve the administration of justice. In an interview with ZBC News, JSC Secretary Mr. Walter Chkwana said these specially designated courts will provide faster justice for certain types of cases.
We are targeting opening what we call fast-track courts at every provincial station during the course of the year. We are already engaging and discussing with the Prosecutor General and the police about that. We used to have fast-track courts so many years ago, where if a person is arrested, the police quickly puts together the docket, they take the accused person, the witnesses, to the prosecutor, and the matter immediately, the trial kicks on, and the matter is finalized without any delays.
He added that a National Council on the Criminal Justice System has been set up to strategize on how to handle backlogs.
There is a committee, a council, that has been set up by the Chief Justice called the National Council on the Criminal Justice System, which is chaired by the Judge President of the High Court, and the Deputy Chair is the Prosecutor General. And it brings together all the key players involved in the management of the criminal cases in Zimbabwe, including the Chief Magistrate. I'm a member as the Secretary of JSC, the Attorney General, the Ministry, Presence, Police, they are all members. That committee is expected to come up with strategies of broadly dealing with backlog of cases, not only in murder cases, which are found in the High Court, but also in the Magistrates Court.
The JSC has been on a drive to improve the administration of justice with the decentralization of courts and setting up of circuit courts among initiatives meant to improve the judiciary system. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
The ruling ZANU-PF party has reiterated its readiness to partner with the church in ensuring peace and improved livelihoods in the communities.
Congregants of the Joani V of Africa Apostolic Church gathered in Masvingo for their New Year crossover conference, which was graced by the ZANU-PF leadership and government officials. ZANU-PF National Political Commissar Comrade Munyaradzi Machacha spoke on the existing relationship between the church and government.
Takuda kuti tichibva pano tichienda mberi ngatione mwana weZimbabwe uno upenyu hwake huchishanduka, upenyu hwake huchiva nani, nemakanda amadzimai edu aya ngaagwinye, kutaridza kuti vakuzora mafuta anodhura, handizvo here? Vana baba shingirirai muchenese vana mai ava vagwinye gwinye, ndozvinoratidza kuti kutevera slogan yepresident yekuti nyika inonaka.
The Masvingo Provincial leadership encouraged church members to embrace developmental programs spearheaded by government.
President Zimbabwe ndiye president watibvisa munako hwatakati wakuenda nesikukenana.
The church pledged to continue supporting government developmental programs.
Ndaona mayuth akawanda ari pano, kuna kuti mayuth ava kunamata, kureva kuti vakutibatsira kubvisa nyaya dzekutora zvinodhaka. Archbishop, muri kutibatsira sehurumende nomusangano unotungamirirwa nababa Mnangagwa. Saka ini ndinoti mayuth ari pano, taida kuti mayuth auye ainde kumbutirwa kwatinoti ku-National Youth Service.
President Emerson Mnangagwa is on record saying the church and government share a symbiotic relationship. Ms. Martina, ZBC News, Masvingo.
The late Madzibaba Godfrey Nzira's grave at Chitungwiza Cemetery has sparked a controversy after a path leading to his grave was built on top of other graves.
Towering above all the other graves, the late self-proclaimed spiritual healer Madzibaba Godfrey Nzira's grave easily catches the eye of anyone who might be visiting Chitungwiza Cemetery. However, a path leading to his grave, allegedly built by church members and relatives, has sparked controversy after desecrating several graves.
Pakatadzwa kunenge kuchinzi kunamata kuriko, but no respect vakafa. Pane vanhu vane hama dzavo dziri pano dzakaradzwa panapa. Ena saka ndadai kuchichwa nevazukuru nevamuna vavo vachiti handi tunoona pakaradzwa sekuru kana mai kana munhu vachiona makuva atiri kuona ekuti mamwe vachi pangosara turata twitwi. Aiwa, pakatadzwa. Ndofunga kuti vemutemo vanofanira kutora matanho akasimba nekuti zvinoratidza kuti zvika izvi zvoumwari pane pasina.
Izvi hazvina kunaka munyika kana murukisheni kana kuvagari vako vakagara navo. Garawo nevamwe zvakanaka, ndo zvinenge zvichidiwa. Uchavakirira here makuva iwaya awakaparadza? Hawavakiriri. Ko hama dzacho dzichazoita sei nemakuva iwaya? Dzichazoona sei kuti apa ndo patakaviga medu?
Munhu uyu hatizi kuti akoshei kudarika vanhu ava.
because asi munhu wanika abviswa grave rake pese paiswa road up. A lot of graves abviswa pano apa nekuda kwethis grave.
Ava vanhu vane hama dzakaekwa apa kana vachiziva makuwa avo kuti ndo vane makuwa akagredwa aya, ndaifunga kuti vanofanira kuita sue Chitungwiza Town Council because ndo yaka-authorize, havangamboiti without the authority ye-town council.
Contacted for comment, Chitungwiza Municipality spokesperson Mr. Tafadzwa Kachiko said the local authority has since launched an investigation into the matter.
Chiitiko chekupadzwa kwemakuwa takanzwa nezvacho marume zuro ende tiri kuongorora kuti zvingava zvakafamba sei. Vashakabva vanhu vanoremekedzwa kunyange tisinawo pane dzine nguva, asi mutemo wemunyika hautendere kunge tichivhiringa nzvimbo dzatakavachengetera.
Madzibaba died in 2011, a few months after he was released from serving a 20-year jail term for rape. First as Mkungurutse, ZBC News, Harare.
Now for these and more stories, be sure to log on to our website, that's www.zbc.co.zw. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, that's on X as well as on Facebook at ZBC News Online. And be sure to subscribe and also watch online on our YouTube channel, that's at ZBC News Online.
Well, there are stories still to come in this bulletin. The Zimbabwe's tourism sector records a massive surge in tourist arrivals. And in sport, a former Dynamo's team manager Richard Chuhoro to be buried this Sunday. We'll be back with these and more stories after this break. Stay with us.
I'm going to Chinoy Cave, my family, for the New Year holiday.
We came from Harare and we decided to visit Chinoy Cave because we know it's one of the great wonders of Zimbabwe.
Chipemberera 2025 new chotazira kunaraja tikomborera kuredu rugowo zvakanaka. Hatipano zvedu tikumboinzwa nefamily tichigocha vafana vachikurawo mabhaiki, vamwe vachitawo mabhotsi, vamwe vachikuita zvakasiyana siyana.
Nhasi 1 January tiri kufara, tiri kuspenda mari, maschool fees hatoripo, zvese zvakatosoteka. Zimbo
We are here at Shera enjoying ourselves. We are promoting tourism. We are looking to Karavatuli. Tenga chifarira New Year. Zvakufara chaizvo nekupinda goreja tichingotenga
Happy New Year to all Zimbabweans. Happy New Year, Zimbabwe.
Maybe 2025, enjoy this year.
Travel and experience Zimbabwe.
The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe would like to advise motorists to avoid traveling at night because of the dangers that come with the territory, from drunk drivers to robbers waiting on unsuspecting motorists at strategic places. Motorists are also advised to remember to dip their lights when passing oncoming traffic. Please ensure your tail lights are working and avoid getting hit from behind by other vehicles on the road. Remember, life is precious, so exercise caution when driving at night. The Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe, keeping Zimbabwe's roads safe.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now turn to the courts, where 3 men who allegedly assaulted a suspected thief appeared in court, charged with murder.
Mob justice for a suspected thief in Glenora, Harare has landed 3 men in trouble following their arrest for murder after the death of the victim who succumbed to injuries sustained from the assault. 43-year-old Raphael Garikai, Anthony Nyamweya, age 33, and Kudakwashe Rukanda, age 34, appeared in court this Saturday, charged with murder. It is alleged that the trio took turns to assault the victim using different weapons, with one of them pouring hot used oil on the now deceased. The court heard that the victim was found the following morning lying unconscious before he was rushed to the hospital, where he later died. They were released on 100 United States dollars bail, coupled with other stringent bail conditions. Meanwhile, Simbarashi Mfandaeza, aged 41, who nearly killed a woman whom he robbed by stabbing her several times with a knife, has appeared in court, charged with robbery. It is alleged that the accused attacked the woman in town before stealing her mobile phone and cash. He was later arrested after police received information of his whereabouts. The accused was remanded in custody to Tuesday for bail application. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
From the courts, we now cross over to our Montrose studios in Blaoyo, and Arthur Evans is on standby with more news. It's a very good evening to you, Arthur, and it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Joyce. It's wonderful to be with you and the rest of the team live from our Montrose studios, especially since it's my first broadcast in 2025. It's great to see you. Now, first up, the local tourism sector is celebrating a boom in business after a record-breaking festive season.
The Hospitality Association of Zimbabwe revealed to ZBC News this Saturday that accommodation facilities across the country reported occupancy rates exceeding 80%, a significant surge compared to previous years.
Occupancy was in excess of 80% for the period, but if you look at the major festive days, which is the Christmas days, 24 to 26, most properties recorded 100%, and during that period as well, we saw high volumes of people going into the various properties, and the different operators had to come up with various ways to control the traffic. So yes, it was a huge success. We took it as a direct impact of the domestic tourism travel campaign that was being held by the Ministry of Tourism and Hospitality Industry, as well as the various marketing efforts of the different establishments.
Tourism players noted the need to expedite the rehabilitation of the Bulawayo-Victoria Falls Highway in the absence of traditional festivals such as the Carnival, having stifled some potential travelers. Zimbabwe's tourism sector continues on its path to recovery, buoyed by improved marketing efforts, increased investment in infrastructure, and growing sense of confidence among international and local travelers. Tichaona Kurewa, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
With persistent rains pounding Matabeleland South Province, a call has been made for small-scale miners to prioritize safety amid fears of mine shaft collapses.
On the 14th of December, illegal miners took temporary shelter in a mine shaft along the Lunga River in Umzingwane, only for the river to flood the shafts. It turned out to be a sad story for the mining community, as one of them, 20-year-old Shelton in Ndlovu, was never seen again after the incident. A week before the Lunga River incident, another miner identified as Talent Ncube died after a shaft they were working in collapsed. These are some of the mine accidents that have been caused by failure to observe safety precautions during the rainy season.
Investment mele khona kakhulu ngoba abantu abanengi umthetho ngakhulunywa babe bekwazi but kabathatha action bana abanye bayaphelela khona labanye last week wapho wathatha ngamanzi emzingwane le bophakathi belokhu senokufula yikho ukuthi uzothi khona high enforcement kayibe khona sibili special ku river bed mining ngoba tuthi kuzira va timbe ma shaft awo ndokuthi senya utanjodzi woita make sure ukuthi mvura kana chinaya isapinda mbuti wesikangopinda mugodi inoaffecta mugodi vanhu kutanga kudirikiko.
With Matabeleland and South Province experiencing a sustained wet spell since December, there is concern over illegal miners who are operating in disused mines and rivers.
To those who are doing mining where these guys are accessing such kind of illegal activity, my message is let's make sure we close those shafts where we think these guys might as well find something interesting. Let's close them properly. It's either by way of introducing subs or screen doors from those unused mines, because that's where our challenges are.
Government banned all forms of riverbed mining in August last year to address safety issues and environmental damage caused by alluvial mining. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
In the spirit of New Year's resolution, senior citizens have taken time to share their experiences and enlighten the younger generation on ways to live a happy and a long life.
With a lifetime worth of lived experiences, senior citizens are a fountain of wisdom and knowledge. While celebrating another chapter to their lives, each new year is a gift of time to reminisce untold stories of love, sacrifice and resilience. Despite having to spend the last days of your life at an old people's home, 105-year-old Gogo Black said as Titanira from Chiromanzu is grateful for the long life.
Ya idanishika ankundichalipa kasimba kuti ndiite umongi wakati kizindukisa kulaka ndosha nduka.
100-year-old Gogo Janet Chimbanda, who now spends most of her time fellowshipping with her church mates, underscored the importance of living a prayerful life.
Chakakura tita mandara ndibereke wangu ndokwe ndiri mama rangi ndibereke wana wangu 9 kusvikira ndinendirike ndikure ndirarame zvangu chizoro wangu kunamata muno ndiri kunyanya yangu zvishoma ndikati muchengeti wedu muchengeti wedu muchengeti wedu haleluya muchengeti wedu muchengeti wedu haleluya.
A healthy diet coupled with good lifestyle choices are some of the secrets to a long life.
Chikafu chedu chechinyakare tinoziva kuti muriwo une dovi, raisi rine dovi zvinofadza zvikuru. Pane kungodya nyama mazuva ese hazvibatsiri. Kana vana vedu tinovafundisa kuti dyawo chikafu chakare. Vamwe vanoda berere, vamwe vanodawo mufushwa, tichingobika zvakadaro. Chakakoshera kuti chinovaka muviri. Haungangodya zvechirungu chete nyama chii mazuva ese, raisi mazuva ese. Iyo raisi inoda kuiswa dovi uchidya.
Misikanzwa ndoya makunyanya vanawo mazuva ano. Saka musingasasvikizira redu rimwe. Tikaenda kumakuru kwegondo uku unoona vana 25, 22, 30. Kuti musvike petiri panapa hamusviki nekuti misikanzwa yanyanya. Hamutsadi kutongana mumba kuti matadzirana moti baba kana wakanganisa kuti ndatadza, mai wakakanganisa kuti ndatadza. Zvine iwe murume akauya na2 iwe uyaona 3. Tanditsarweni ndifungoti zvinoita.
88-year-old Sekuru Radford Chisoni urged young men to stay focused and desist from indulging in multiple sexual relationships.
Yoti pa Cape Town hapa nangachisika every year kuti every year china ndiki nikaenda kuwawa kubawa kutoka bachi yangu ili kuipa tekisi kuti ina kuisa kumba ozoke owi isingaziwe kuti ndiri kuzitengesa dziri kupera ukatora kana mune mari uri very stupid so wako hauturi mushi.
As they celebrate long life, the elderly believe growing old should be seen as a blessing and not a curse. Festus Mkongori says ABC News, Harare.
Well, as they say, to those that have ears, let them hear. We turn our attention further afield to international news, and in particular the Gaza Strip, where a Palestinian family of 11, including 7 children, are among at least 28 Palestinians killed as the Israeli military intensified attacks on Gaza Strip enter its third day. The United Nations has pleaded with Israel to halt the attacks on medical facilities in the besieged territory. The call by the United Nations comes after Israeli soldiers surrounded the Indonesian hospital in Beit Lahia, where many displaced Palestinians have sought shelter. Healthcare in the Gaza Strip has been pushed to the brink of collapse amid repeated attacks by Israeli forces, including last week's destruction of the Kamal Adwan hospital. Amnesty International says Israel's detention of Kamal Adwan hospital director is emblematic of the genocidal intent in Israelis' attempts to destroy Gaza's healthcare sector. UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk says the world body recorded 136 Israeli attacks on 27 health facilities in Gaza. Now we turn our attention to Asia, and in particular in China, where a fire at a market in China's northern province of Hebei has killed at least 8 people and wounded 15. Media reports say the blaze at the Liguang hospital in Hebei on Saturday was mostly extinguished after 2 hours. State broadcaster CCTV reported that the injured have been sent to hospital for treatment and are not in a life-threatening state. CCTV said authorities are investigating the cause of the fire, and videos posted on China's Huawei social media microblogging site showed huge dark billows of smoke hanging over the market along with large flames. The Liguang vegetable market opened in 2011 and sells items ranging from fruit and seafood to electronics. With that international outlook, we end our Montrose crossover. However, we continue with the main news bulletin immediately after this break. My name is Arthur Sevens.
Shark on the line.
Who took my fish?
Did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
Excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story. Zim Digital set-top boxes, decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give viewers access to ZBC Jive TV, ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZTN Prime, Pre-K TV, Kiona TV, NRTV. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 or the Zig equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The
Welcome back. Let's now take a look at business news. Investor participation on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is expected to increase this year after government reduced the capital gains withholding tax on the selling of shares to 1%. Stanley James reports.
The capital gains withholding tax on selling shares has been slashed from 2% to 1% with immediate effect. Amid optimism, the development will result in investors realizing more returns from the sale of their shares. The arrangement has been described by market watchers as a government's commitment towards the growth of local capital markets.
As you are aware that most companies who are registered on the stock market, they raise capital through the trading of shares. So what it means is the reduction of the tax will actually facilitate and quicken the trading of shares on the stock market. Basically what it implies is that shareholders, when they buy and sell their shares, they're able to get more returns. So the implication is that there will be more trading of shares on the stock exchange, meaning that companies are able to mobilize funds for their expansion activities, for investing in new ventures.
During the past few months, market players have submitted proposals to Treasury over the reduction of the tax as part of reforms to bolster confidence on the ZSE.
This is the second time that we have seen the Ministry of Finance, Economic Development and Investment Promotion supporting our capital market in terms of reducing transaction costs. In June 2024, capital gains withholding tax was reduced from 4% to 2%. And the impact of that reduction in June was a reduction in total transaction costs from about 7% to 5%. With the reduction in capital gains tax to 1%, our transaction costs go down to 4.14%. Given that we began 2024 at transaction costs of 7%, above 7%, and we are now beginning 2025 with transaction costs at 4.14%, you can appreciate the movement that has taken place in terms of reducing transaction costs on our market.
The reduction in the tax is also expected to improve competitiveness of the local bourse against regional peers and drive Zimbabwe's agenda of increasing global capital flows. Stanley James, ZBC News, Harare.
On that note, we take a break, but when we come back, we'll be giving you the sports. Stay with us.
To our cherished viewers, this is an official invitation to the biggest festive celebration. Let's go! From the 13th of December to the 6th of January. It's astonishing! Accept the invitation when you press play on endless entertainment at home or wherever you are. Oh, snap! With DSTV Stream at no extra cost. T's and C's apply. Because this festive, everyone's invited. DSTV, your home of entertainment.
Get your business ready for the festive season with ZBC. Join us for the ZBC Mega Festive Business Promotion running from the 1st of November of 2024 all the way to January 31 of 2025. Enjoy an incredible cash discount of over 50% across all ZBC platforms. This is your opportunity to make your business shine. So celebrate with ZBC and watch your business thrive by simply booking your spot right now. For more information, call Tandeka on 0719-594-426 or Martha on 0719-593-532 or Precious on 0719-593-510 or email tandeka.mubi@zbc.co.zw. Terms and conditions apply.
ZBC Current Affairs.
striving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. We now give you the sports news. The late former Dynamos team manager, Richard Chihoro, will be buried at Zororo Memorial Park this Sunday. Anashe Murombedzi gives us more.
From humble beginnings as a junior player at Dynamos to his eventual rise as a respected team manager, Chihoro's dedication and passion for the beautiful game inspired countless fans and players alike. This Saturday, family, friends and colleagues gathered in Harare for a memorial service to pay their respects to the Dynamos legend. The body was then taken to Rufaro Stadium and Gonzalo Stadium, where fans gathered to pay their last respects to Chihoro, who had become synonymous with the club. The revered former Dynamos team manager, who died on Friday morning at the age of 68, will be buried at Zororo Memorial Park this Sunday, marking the final chapter in an extraordinary life that touched the lives of many people.
Urongwa wedu wekuradzika ndimangwana kuzororo graveyard uye ticharadzika nenguva dza 2 o'clock. Saka tinokutendai zvakanyanya semhuri tarasikirwa, senyika tarasikirwa, seclub yeDynamos.
Chihiro's impact at Dynamos cannot be overstated, as during his tenure as team manager, the club achieved unprecedented success, including a league title win in 2007 and a semi-final appearance in the CAF Champions League in 2008. Mourners are gathered at number 31589 Unit K Junction in Chitungwiza. Anna Shembrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
The Harare athletics season kicks off with a cross-country opener at David Livingstone School in Harare this Sunday.
All ages and levels are expected to flock to the event, which provides a perfect platform for young runners to gauge their fitness levels before the new school term begins. Coaches will also use the opportunity to evaluate their athletes' preparedness for the season. The event targets athletes from under 10 to senior categories. The competition will feature various distance categories, including 8 km for senior men and women, 6 km for under 18 boys, under 20 girls, and under 20 boys, and shorter distances for younger age groups.
Grassroots is the way to go. We really want to focus on grassroots development. We want to start as low as under 10, because we want to get these kids excited about doing athletics. We want to catch them young, and we want to groom them to be the future champions that we want.
Meanwhile, the Harare Athletics Board has lined up major events with the track and field championships set to take place on the 12th of this month at the University of Zimbabwe. The Harare Athletics cross-country selection event is scheduled for the 2nd of February, followed by the national competition on the 22nd. Anna Shemrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
And now in international news, United States Olympic sprinter Fred Kerley was tasered and arrested by police following a confrontation with officers in Miami, Florida. The 29-year-old who won 100-meter bronze at last summer's Paris Games faces charges of battery, resisting a police officer, and breach of peace following the incident on Thursday evening. Officers were investigating another incident when Kerley approached them with an aggressive demeanor Kenya over concern about his car, according to a police report. The report said Curley continued to resist officers and used evasive movements to avoid being arrested before being wrestled to the ground by 4 officers. Police body cam footage shows Curley getting back to his feet, then being tasered and falling back to the floor before being taken into custody. And on that note, we give you the weather report up next.
Hello, good evening Zimbabwe. My name is Idaisha Mdondo and this is the weather report in focus. Due to the moisture we had in the skies, we had widespread thunderstorms across the country, with Makawali measuring 51, Zhishavane 40 millimeters and Nyanga 37 millimeters. And we have a cloud band which is covering much of the country, and we're anticipating it to be partly cloudy and warm as we get into Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, with heavier falls expected in Matebeleland, Masvingo and Manicaland provinces. And for our minimum temperatures tonight, we're expecting Kariba to have a minimum of 22 degrees Celsius, Harare 17, Mutare 19, Gwanda 21 and Victoria Falls 20. And for our maximum temperatures tomorrow, we're expecting Kariba to have 32 degrees Celsius, Harare 23, Mutare 27, Chirezi 36 and Gwanda 30 degrees Celsius. And for our detailed forecast, Bulawayo, we're expecting it to have a wet week with a high of 26 and a low of 18 degrees Celsius tomorrow. Chinole, we're expecting cloudy conditions with high chances of rain with a high of 26 and a low of 18 degrees Celsius on Sunday. And for Gwanda, we're expecting cloudy conditions with chances of thunder and rain with a high of 30 and a minimum of 21 as we get into Monday. And for Gweru, we're expecting cloudy conditions and our maximums should be ranging in the 20s. And for Harare, we're expecting a high of 23 and a minimum of 17 with wet conditions expected throughout the week. And for our city of Gold, Kadoma, we're expecting a high of 28 and a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius. Kariba, we're expecting wet conditions with a high of 31 and a minimum of 22 as we get into Monday. Lupane, we're expecting a high of 27 and a minimum of 20 with wet conditions expected as we get into the week. Kweko, we're expecting wet conditions and a high of 27 and a minimum of 18 degrees Celsius. Masvingo, our city of ruins, we're expecting a high of 30 and a minimum of 20 degrees Celsius. Beware of thunderstorms which are expected. Matopo, we're expecting a high of 29 and a minimum of 21 degrees Celsius. And for Nyanga, we're expecting wet conditions with a low of 14 and they will decrease as we get into the week. Victoria Falls, we're expecting wet conditions. That's all from the weather desk today. Please beware of thunderstorms which you are expecting. Stay indoors. That's all from the weather desk. Thank you.
Well, many thanks there to the Met Services Department for giving us the weather report and forecast. I caught one thing, Tari, that when thunder rolls, stay indoors. And it looks like these rains are all over the country.
That is absolutely true. In fact, on my way to work, it was pouring. But I did notice that some people were speeding, which is obviously not good for anyone. We've got some potholes on some of the roads, so we've got to be really, really careful. And of course, pay attention to car maintenance issues like the lights.
Yes, the lights, the wipers, and all those things that make us safe on the roads. And also the weather is favorable. You know, the temperatures have gone down, and the farmers are also happy because, you know what, all the fields that I'm seeing have suddenly come back to life.
It is true, the rains do make a difference. Just wondering if you use the weather app just to check before you get out of the house.
Yeah, of course, I always carry my umbrella, and of course I use the weather app. Whether it's, you know, I'm just glad that, you know, the rains are upon us now. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast of the news at 8. But before we go, we give you stories that made the headlines. The Second Republic on a drive to invest in health infrastructure.
Zimbabwe's tourism sector records a massive surge in tourist arrivals.
And in sport, former Dynamo's team manager Richard Tuhoro to be buried this Sunday.
And on that note, we've come to the end of the news at 8, and we'll see you again tomorrow, Joyce. Great.
Tomorrow it will be Sunday edition. From all of us here at our Pocket Hill studios, our Montreal studios, the crew behind the scenes, it is good night.